So when I was invited to participate in the show house, I immediately loved the idea of this being a flower magazine space. And so, of course, I thought I wanted to bring in some reference to flowers, but not in really a literal way. I wanted to think about what flowers make us feel. And I have always been inspired by Chelsea Flower Market. So I love when that week happens in London where all of the stores have flowers just bursting through the doors and windows and ceilings. And I walked into that primary bath, and the first thing that I realized was that we were gifted with so much natural light that maybe I could figure out a way to bring that feeling of Chelsea Flower Market to this space. My name is Arianne Bellizaire. I'm based in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I am the founder of Arianne Bellizaire Interiors. And I have the honor of designing the primary bathroom and the dressing room. So the first idea was to really think about how to bring a canopy of flowers into the space. And there were a couple of ideas and iterations of how I thought I'd do that. But at the end of the day, what I realized was I needed to balance that feeling of the florals and the vibrancy of the florals with the bright airiness that the space really calls for. So the primary bath was about creating this enchanted garden. And then in the dressing room, I wanted that to feel really different, but have a smooth transition between the two spaces. So the dressing room was really about thinking about the starry night and being under a canopy of flowers, but in this space that felt really moody and dramatic and sophisticated, and being able to play off of the architectural details in both of the spaces in a way that highlighted them and enhanced them without taking away from them. So in the primary bath, the thing that I really think shines in that space is the beautiful wall coverings that were provided by Urick wall covering. The idea of this canopy of flowers kind of winding up the walls and up the ceiling and being kind of under this floral whimsical feeling was only possible with that paper because that paper is so elegant and subtle. It doesn't make you feel like you're overwhelmed, but it definitely communicates the message that I wanted to have in that space. And it creates the perfect envelope for all of the other amazing architectural details in that primary bathroom. So from a vignette perspective, I really love walking into the space and seeing how the flowers that are on that wall covering wind up and around that vanity and really frame the window, which brings in all of the natural light, which is my favorite part of that room. In the dressing room, that room is really special, and it's really hard to figure out one moment, but I think my favorite, especially when I see people walk into the space and have a reaction, is when you walk into the dressing room. You're immediately hit with this beautiful, rich color of blue. But then when you turn to the right and see the way that that blue is really the backdrop for this amazing paper by Christopher John Rogers and his collaboration with Barrow and Ball, and they backdrop this incredible art, which we call handbags, but there are pieces of art from Blumera. They bring the vibrancy and color and texture that that space needs to really hammer home the idea of it being a sophisticated space that's really special. It's really designed for someone who loves to travel and has seen the world and likes to collect things. And the way that we've curated the handbags and shown them in a way that they look like a collection, I think pays a great homage to not only the artistry of the bags, but really the intention behind what Meyers wants those bags to represent and what that room should represent for the person who owns the home. So one of the sponsors that was probably the most fun to figure out how to incorporate was New Ravenna. The bathroom has a lot of fixed finishes that were already agreed upon and selected by the homeowner. And New Ravenna is obviously a company known for its beautiful stone and tile, but more specifically, its beautiful mosaics. But I don't have a wall space in my room, and I didn't have the space to put a mosaic in the shower. So trying to figure out how to bring a piece of art into the primary bath and this particular sponsor known for this particular thing into the bath was a challenge that I really fully embraced because I like a good challenge. And so what I decided was, in the primary bath, the center of that room is a freestanding tub. And while I love the idea of luxuriating in a bathtub, the fact that I would be doing that in front of a big window did not feel like it was the right thing to do. So to create a sense of privacy for that space, we used one of their custom hand-created mosaic panels to not only give that space a sense of privacy, but also to highlight what makes that company so special, and their ability to take anything, even a Gracie panel, which inspired that panel, and create something that could be art, and it could be freestanding, it could be hanging, it doesn't have to be a fixed finish. So being able to show people when they walk into the space ways that they can use things in maybe a way that's unexpected or different, that to me is what makes a show house so exciting, and that's probably the best features we have in that primary bathroom. So this room took a lot of help and a lot of wonderful sponsors, and I am so grateful to have worked with so many of them. And in particular, I'm really grateful to have worked with Waterworks in providing all of the plumbing fixtures. Really enjoyed working with Curry & Company, and they provided all of the light fixtures in the primary bath, from the stunning chandelier to those gorgeous sconces that flank the vanity. Those pieces are so special, and they add to the vibrancy and texture of that space. Floral and Ball, I'm so lucky to have had them be the provider of the paint for both the dressing room and the primary bath. And the way that I chose to use those paints that are just such staples was to really combine two paints in each room. So if you really look closely to the doors that are in the primary bath, there are actually two paint colors used to create some depth and highlight to those doors. There's such beautiful detail in the way that they were created. There's a main color on the door, and then the trim and inset of those doors is a secondary color. And you'll see that same technique used in the dressing room. Even though I had a primary bath and a dressing room, I still found a way to work in one of my favorite brands, Lee Industries, where they provided all of the upholstery pieces for my spaces. So there is a small stool in the primary bath right next to the tub, perfect place to put your robe or your towel as you wait to finish your bath. And then in the dressing room, there is not only probably the most sophisticated side chair that I've ever seen that's being used at the dressing vanity, but there is a beautiful bench that is covered by a fabric that I feel like really pulls together the theme of the space. If you look really closely, there are little stars and moons in the fabric, and it ties in that whole detail of that space being about a starry night. So let's talk about the bling. The space would not be what it is without the incredible hardware provided by Modern Matter. And Modern Matter is a company that I learned originally started from artisans who like to create jewelry. And you can see that really come through in some of the collections that they provide as hardware now. So in the primary bath, we did a very traditional and subtle polished nickel finish hardware detail because that room is meant to be very elegant and pulled together. And then in the dressing room, we have the stunning layers of not just knobs and pulls, but even the rosettes that we use behind them to create layers and depth and scale for the hardware. I think will make you think twice and look twice when you look at the doors in the dressing room. So one of the most impactful moments in the primary bath is the view that you have of the vanity. And the vanity is really special because it really took a lot of layers to pull that off. So initially the idea for the vanity was that it would float in the center of the wall that's right there near the big window. And I think that would have been great, and it probably would have been enough, but the added support and glamour of what Palmer Industries did to provide the special customized legs and fittings and the mirrors that are on top of the vanity add the sparkle that that space needed, but also I think gives a nod to the traditional and classical elements that we wanted that bathroom to reference. So that initial idea, the first little nugget of thought I had about the primary bath was this idea of a canopy of flowers. And I really thought that the way I would pull that off would be to have a local artist paint this mural on the ceiling. And we kind of talked about how we would make that happen and how it would work. And we looked at the bathroom, and then we looked at the dressing room. We tried to figure out how to make those spaces work. And we finally realized that the best use of that mural detail would be to bring her into the dressing room, that artist, Connie Harris, and allow her to create that canopy of flowers under the starry night, because that was not something we could find in the form of a paper or a wall covering. It just didn't exist in the way that in my mind it would work out. So I had so much fun collaborating with Connie telling her the vision and the dream that I had for the space. And bless her, Connie really looked at that closet before it was anything. She came in before there were cabinets. She came in before there was any color. And me being able to tell her the vision and the dream and the color palette that I was going to use was really just enough for her to take that, and I think she just blew it out of the water. There were so many people who walked into that space and asked me, where's the wall, what wall covering is that? It's an original piece of art. Someone sat there on a scaffold and spent hours on her back painting. And that just gives me chills, because that is what makes design so exciting and so fun. That's what makes rooms so special. It's bringing all of these disparate items and pieces together and making them fit in a way that they look like they are seamless. Like it just looks like, and it feels like it's the right thing. And that element and that layer that Connie provided for that closet is what I think takes it over the top. So overall, this has been an incredible experience. I feel so blessed and fortunate to have the honor of being a part of this incredible team of designers that had a chance to work on this project. I am forever grateful for all of the sponsors who made my spaces come to life. And I cannot thank the Floral Magazine team enough for their vision and their guidance and their support and leadership in this process. They really set the stage and set the standard that we all had to rise to. And I know that this house wouldn't be what it is without their guidance and leadership. The design build team, and quite frankly, the homeowners have been incredible to work with.